Hello everyone, I am Rajendra Sutha from Government Science College, Jalore. In this video, I will try to explain Aristotle's theory of poetry and particularly his concept of mimesis. So let us start with a brief introduction of Aristotle. Aristotle was Plato's star pupil, as was Plato was the student of Socrates. Aristotle was also in turn the private tutor of Alexander the Great, the name with which we are very much familiar. It is supposed that Aristotle brought philosophy back to earth. Before Aristotle, it was regarded that everything, the reality exists somewhere beyond this earth, in heaven, as Plato believed. But Aristotle believed that the essence and the reality of a form of a thing resides within, rather than the above. Means everything is present in this physical world and there is nothing beyond this physical world. So he brought philosophy back to earth, and that's why Aristotle is regarded as one of the systematic thinkers who ever lived. Aristotle wrote a treatise on every facet of knowledge, from politics to astronomy, physics to ethics, rhetoric to poetry. And in his famous book Poetics, which is mainly based on the theory of tragedy, Aristotle differentiates poetry from other disciplines, and he believes that as poetry is different from other disciplines, it should have its own specific laws, its own unique tools, and its own proper end. So poetry is different from other disciplines, and that's why it has to be treated differently, not in terms of politics or psychology, like that. So the works we have by Aristotle were not actually written by Aristotle himself, but they are supposed to be the compilation of notes taken by his students. Now move to his concept of mimesis. Mimesis is a Greek word, and it means imitation. Aristotle radically redefined Platonic notion of mimesis. So the notion of mimesis was not new. It was already in existence, and it was Plato who first gave the notion of mimesis. He believed that all arts are mimetic, but Aristotle defined, or we can say that he redefined this notion differently. According to Aristotle, mimesis is a positive and natural thing, and in our each and every action, there is an element of imitation. For example, as children, we learn primarily from imitation. So in poetry in general, and in the well-constructed plots of great tragedies in particular, Aristotle found the perfect food to feed our innate desire for order, balance, and unity. So imitation brings order, balance, and unity to our life. And the good examples are the great tragedies which were at his hand, while writing the Poetics. Now, Aristotle believed that imitation allows the tragedian to construct a perfect, unified plot. The mimetic process transforms an action or a story. The word praxis is used in Greek. So, to transform an action or story that is long, episodic, and haphazard into a plot, mythos in Greek, that is focused and unified. So Aristotle here differentiates story from plot. Story is just a chronological order of the events or incidents that have happened in the life of a person, but with the use of imitation. By imitation, the plot is constructed in such a way that it becomes focused and unified. The events are enhanced in such a way that the creator of a work, the artist, creates the desired effect in the audience or the readers. So that is to say, mimesis of a praxis is a mythos. So when an artist imitates a story, it becomes mythos, it becomes plot, which is the systematic arrangement of the events in the life that happen in the life of a person. The story or a praxis of a man begins with his birth and ends with his death and includes all the previous various incidents that have occurred in between. So story is not creative, it is just an account of the incidents that have happened between birth and end. But plot is something creative. Plot is constructed around that biographical story that would confine itself to a single day in that lifespan, when all that is the most essential to that life comes to a head. So plot is constructed or is arranged in a single day lifespan, but all the when the audience watch a drama, all the lifespan come to his understanding by watching the drama. So that is the plot, whereas the events in the story follow each other in a simple chronological order. The events in a plot should move forward in accordance with necessity, probability, and inevitability. So the story has only a chronological order, but a plot moves forward, or the plot follows the principles of necessity and probability. Means what is necessary, what is probable happens in the plot, and what is the inevitable. These principles are taken into consideration by the artist, and considering these principles, the plot is constructed. So this was the concept of mimesis given by Aristotle. Thank you. Thank you very much.